I think one of the most important things in anyone's life is to have a place in which they give to someone else. That most of us spend most of our lives trying to better ourselves and what's going on around us. And sometimes any thought of caring for other people just gets squeezed out of the pressure of life, the business of life. And I feel it's absolutely essential for every person to have some place in their life where they can care for somebody else and give time and money and attention to another human being to make their life better. And I think that projects like this one in Romania are one example of how people can do that.
What about the family?
Well, I first went to Romania at Sami's invitation, and we went as a whole family, my wife and 4 children. We had just a most wonderful holiday. People in Romania were so welcoming, so warm, so hospitable. And the countryside itself is fantastic. I mean, it's because it's so undeveloped, it is a very, very beautiful place. But obviously we went to see Sami and his work as well, and we spent the best part of a week with Sami. And I think the thing that touched me most was just how difficult and broken everything in Romania was. And Sami working with Roma, that was particularly the case.
It didn't start as a new project. It grew from a very small calling, let's say. I think the way my mother loved me make me to love all the children. The children here are coming from a very, very bad environment. They are feeding themselves from the street trash cans, begging aggressively, selling scrap iron, and they are used by the parents in all of this. So it's a mixture of addiction with illness and poverty.
But poor Sami spent most of that time sorting out arguments amongst the parents, and I could see how much tension there was both in the parents and with Sami, because there was always an argument about something. And it made me realize, looking at the children, that they were being brought up in this atmosphere of constant conflict and hostility. And there was a cycle that was just going on, and something needed to break it.
I was doing a magazine for a mission society, and it happened that at the walking side of the street, my windows were very low, and the beggars began to come. They are always prospecting, looking to find, and they find me somehow. First at the window, then they come in, then I get in troubles with my fellows there, And slow by slow I get informed about this underground world, and anybody getting informed become responsible.
At the back.
Up at the back? Come on. His name is...
Ano ba nimi? Mert babamnak kell.
He has 5 brothers. He has 13 years. Ce clasă ești? He's in standard 3.
Does he come here every day?
Din fiecare zi aici.
So what does he do here?
Like the other kids from my group, they are coming here to play to the computer. They are learning Bible lessons. They are doing here their homework.
Okay.
They are eating at the lunch time here. His name is Lakatush Valentin. He's from this block of flats of gypsies. He's a little bit poor. His father has not identity card.
I think of a young lad who I saw and got to know a little bit this year, and I don't know anything about his home background, but I've seen him in previous years, and he's now, I would think, about 17, and very vivacious, very outgoing, very full of fun young lad, and I could see his future without Sammy's help, essentially being quite a good criminal entrepreneur. You know, he knew how to get things working. Now this year, one of the things we did was run an English workshop, and we managed to get some computer software to run on the computers that would teach English. And I thought, well, this is going to be very useful for the 8, 9, 10-year-olds who are sort of at an early stage of education, but I'd be very surprised if any of the older children really take to it. But this young lad of 17 started on it, and his English wasn't good, but he spent over an hour working on his English the first time he looked at it. And that completely changed my view of him, because if he could give that sort of attention to what was a fairly boring task for a 17-year-old, endlessly repeating English words to improve his pronunciation, if he had the motivation to spend an hour doing that instead of playing whiz-bang computer games, which is what he could have been doing, I thought, well, there's some hope for him within a year or two to be getting a job.
Now, the main difficulties are because of lack of sponsorship. That's the main problem. You cannot do nor education, nor medical assistance. You can not represent them in the connection with authorities, so preparing their IDs without money.
Sammy has great need for money, not for himself, but for the buildings. And also, we want to establish a scholarship fund for the children, which would enable Sammy to give them prizes each month for the best student. Sammy was telling us that if one of his children can reach 25 words a minute typing speed and computer literacy, then they will get a job. And so Sammy has typing programs and computer literacy programs to enable these children to get a job. But he needs to give them something now as an incentive for later.
I have this dream to be able to start here an art school called Art School for Children.
Sammy will be able to give prizes to different age groups for their progress in English, in computing, in typing, and that will motivate them now to get the skills that in 3, 4, 5 years' time will enable them to get a job, which would be fantastic. So money is the easy and the quick way for people to help.
There are some more other projects because yes, we are doing many things, and I would like to have a summer camp. We have already the field and the containers are moved there. I want to have a zip line and a pottery there too. Somebody may choose sport activities. Somebody may choose to support the medical, the dentist care, and each of these needs are to be supported by somebody.
Sammy's also enormously welcoming of groups going to visit, groups from churches, groups from companies, just groups of friends. And there's so much you can do. When we go, we run workshops in computers or in English or in music. But basically we just have fun with the children, and they love meeting us. It values them as people when people come to meet them, and that changes them. They love having their photograph taken. They love just developing relationships with people from outside Romania.
Okay? From one, okay. One more. 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.